Charisma isn't something you're born with or without, it's a skill you can develop that will transform every area of your life. The most successful people understand that charisma is the invisible force that opens doors, builds bridges, and creates opportunities that talent alone never could. Some may think being charismatic is about being the loudest person in the room or having the most captivating stories. But real charisma is about making others feel seen, valued, and understood in your presence. It's about creating a magnetic energy that draws people toward you, not because you demand attention, but because you give it so generously. When you master the art of charisma, you don't just become more likable, you become more influential, more memorable, and more capable of creating the connections that fuel both personal and professional success. Today, we're exploring how to cultivate this powerful skill and leverage it strategically in your life. Think about the most charismatic person you know. What is it about them that makes you feel different when you're around them? I guarantee it's not just their confidence, it's their ability to make you feel like the most interesting person in the room when they're talking to you. Let's break down the 5 essential elements of charisma and how you can develop each one to create a lasting impact in every interaction. 1. Authentic presence. The foundation of true charisma is your ability to be completely present in each interaction. Charismatic people don't just hear words, they absorb the entire experience of the person they're with. They notice not just what's being said, but how it's being said, what's not being said, and the emotions flowing beneath the surface. Authentic presence requires you to quiet the constant mental chatter about what you'll say next, how you're being perceived, or what you need to accomplish. Instead, you focus entirely on the person in front of you, treating each conversation as if it's the most important part of your day. Practice the art of active engagement by maintaining natural eye contact, leaning slightly forward when someone speaks, and asking follow-up questions that show you're genuinely curious about their experience. When someone feels truly seen by you, they automatically associate that good feeling with your presence. This level of presence creates what psychologists call emotional contagion. Your calm, focused energy influences others to feel more centered and valued when they're around you. People leave interactions with you feeling better about themselves, which makes them naturally drawn to spend more time in your company. 2. Emotional intelligence and empathy. Charismatic individuals possess an almost supernatural ability to read and respond to the emotional landscape of any situation. They can sense when someone needs encouragement, when they need space, when they're excited but trying to contain it, or when they're struggling but putting on a brave face. Developing this emotional radar requires practicing what I call emotional mirroring. Not copying someone's emotions, but understanding and validating them. When someone shares excitement with you, you match their energy level. When they confide about a struggle, you soften your tone and create space for their vulnerability. Pay attention to micro-expressions, body language, and the energy shifts that happen during conversations. Notice when someone's words don't match their emotional state, and gently create openings for them to express what they're really feeling. This emotional attunement allows you to respond to people's deeper needs rather than just their surface requests. When you consistently meet people where they actually are emotionally, rather than where they pretend to be, you create bonds that feel almost mystical in their depth and authenticity. 3. Strategic vulnerability. The most magnetic people aren't perfect, they're courageously imperfect. They share their struggles, acknowledge their mistakes, and admit when they don't know something. This strategic vulnerability creates a connection because it gives others permission to be human around you. Strategic vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing or dumping your problems on others. It means being selectively open about challenges you've overcome, lessons you've learned the hard way, or moments when you've had to grow beyond your comfort zone. When you share a story about overcoming self-doubt before a big presentation, you're not just revealing information, you're creating space for others to connect with their own experiences of pushing through fear. When you admit you don't know something, but you're curious to learn, you model intellectual humility that makes others feel safe to explore and question alongside you. This calculated openness breaks down the barriers that formal politeness creates. It transforms surface-level interactions into meaningful connections because you've modeled that it's safe to be real in your presence. 4. Confident communication. Charismatic communication is about expressing your thoughts with clarity and conviction while remaining open to other perspectives. It's the ability to speak with purpose, listen with intention, and navigate disagreement with grace. Develop your vocal presence by speaking more slowly than feels natural, pausing strategically for emphasis, and varying your tone to maintain engagement. Your voice should project calm confidence, even when discussing challenging topics. Master the art of storytelling by structuring your experiences with clear beginnings, compelling conflicts, and meaningful resolutions. People remember stories far longer than they remember facts, so learning to weave narrative into your communication makes you infinitely more memorable. Practice intellectual generosity by acknowledging good points from others, building on their ideas, and giving credit where it's due. When you make others feel smart and valued in conversation, they associate those positive feelings with your presence. Remember that confident communication includes knowing when not to speak. Charismatic people are comfortable with silence, they don't feel compelled to fill every pause, and they give others space to process and respond thoughtfully. 5. Purposeful energy management. Perhaps the most overlooked aspect of charisma is your ability to manage and direct your energy intentionally. Charismatic people don't just show up, they show up with the energy that serves the moment and the people they're with. This means calibrating your enthusiasm to match the situation. High energy during a celebration, calm presence during a crisis, focused attention during important discussions, and playful lightness during casual interactions. Develop awareness of how your energy affects others. Notice when your presence lifts the mood of a room and when it might be overwhelming. Learn to dial your intensity up or down based on what the moment requires. Practice what I call energy generosity, bringing slightly more positive energy to each interaction than you take from it. This doesn't mean being artificially upbeat, but it does mean being intentional about contributing good vibes to every encounter. When you master energy management, people begin to associate your presence with feeling better, more motivated, and more optimistic about possibilities. This magnetic effect naturally draws others toward you and creates the foundation for lasting influence. Now that you understand the components of charisma, let's explore how to apply this skill strategically to create meaningful advantages in your life. In professional settings, charisma helps you build the relationships that accelerate career growth. When colleagues and leaders associate your presence with positive experiences, you become the person they think of for opportunities, collaborations, and promotions. In personal relationships, charisma deepens connections and creates the emotional safety that allows intimacy to flourish. When people feel truly seen and valued in your presence, they naturally want to spend more time with you and invest more deeply in the relationship. For leadership roles, charisma becomes the bridge between having good ideas and inspiring others to act on them. People follow charismatic leaders not just because of their competence, but because of how they feel when they're around them. The key to using charisma ethically is ensuring your intention is to genuinely serve others' best interests, not just your own. When your charisma comes from a place of authentic care and curiosity about others, it creates win-win dynamics that benefit everyone involved. Charisma is like a muscle, the more you exercise it intentionally, the stronger it becomes. Start by choosing one element to focus on each week. Perhaps you begin with presence, committing to being fully engaged in every conversation for 7 days. Practice these skills in low-stakes interactions first. The barista at your coffee shop. The person next to you in line, casual encounters where you can experiment with different approaches without significant consequences. Pay attention to how people respond to you as you develop these abilities. Notice when conversations flow more easily, when people seem more engaged, when you feel more connected to others. Remember that authentic charisma takes time to develop because it requires genuine personal growth, not just behavioral changes. Be patient with yourself as you cultivate these skills, knowing that each interaction is an opportunity to practice and improve. Your charisma will become your secret weapon, not for manipulation, but for creating the kinds of meaningful connections that make life richer and more fulfilling. When you help others feel valued and understood, you create a ripple effect of positivity that extends far beyond your immediate interactions. What aspect of charisma do you find most challenging to develop? Have you noticed how certain people make you feel different just by being around them? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Remember, true charisma isn't about being perfect, it's about making others feel perfectly accepted in your presence. Subscribe for more insights on developing the interpersonal skills that transform your relationships and opportunities.